All right, we can start now. So let me just introduce myself. So my name is Amar and I'm having 15 plus year of experience. I have experience on F5 load balancer, firewall, cloud technology and proxy technology. Okay, so this is brief about me. Okay, let me just talk about this. What is F5 device and let me just give you the intro, okay, for this F5. So basically here we are going to understand in next 20 to 30 minutes what is F5 device, okay, and what are the module it has. So let's go here. So I would give you some introduction of F5. So if I talk about F5, so F5 is nothing but this is a company name. They have a product which is known as a big IP. So this is a company and their product is known as a big IP. In big IP, we are going to learn LTM. This is one of the module which is known as a local traffic manager. So if I talk about local traffic manager, this is acting as a ADC or ADC. This is ADC stand for application delivery controller, or in general term, we say this is working as a load balancer. Okay. So what is happening over here? You can see from a small diagram. Basically in organization, you have multiple server, okay, and you just want to set up like that when user is accessing the application which is hosted in multiple server, so their query gets load balanced on your LTM device. So for that you use LTM. So basically if this is the user trying to access application, so it would be accessing the application from front end, and your F5 is doing the load balance of those query to distributing those query to different backend server. So this is what for this in F5 you are going to enable LTM module, okay, so that F5 can do the load balancing. This big IP device can do the load balancing. Okay, moving to next. We'll talk about F5 certification. So basically F5 offers some certification on their different products. So they have different product. They have product for load balancing. They have product for global load balancing. They have product for security. So you can see these are the different certification they have. So their basic certification is this one, 101. This is the fundamental. This is the fundamental certification. If you pass this certification, okay, F5 is not giving you any certification. Okay, this is just for the fundamental. Here you can gain the fundamental knowledge. Okay, but after passing this fundamental, you can go for the next step, which is 201. 20 is known as a certified administrator. So if you pass 101 plus 201, so you are getting the certification of certified administrator. So basically you would get the certification of F5 certified administrator. Admin. Okay. After this, you can go for the next step. You can pass for 301. Then you can go for the next step 401. Okay. So this is how you can pursue the certification. Okay. In this particular course, what we are going to cover here in LTM course, basically we are going to cover 101, 201, and some of basic module of 301 we are going to cover. Okay, so the course which we have right here, we will cover 101 completely, 201 completely, and 301 partially we are going to cover. Okay. Now moving to next one, this is the course content that we have. Here we are going to learn about the LTM, local traffic manager, this module. And in this module, we are going to understand everything from 1 to 11 module, that is installation and initial setup, how load balancing happens, how you monitor the backend server, what is the virtual server, and what are the profiles. Persistence we are going to cover, SSL traffic we are going to cover, netting we are going to cover, high rule, high availability, maintenance means upgradation of the F5 we are going to cover over here, and troubleshooting steps we are going to cover. So this is all are the course content that we are going to cover here. Now moving to next, let's understand F5 architecture. What is F5 and what are the module it have? So basically, as I told you that F5 is F5 has a hardware, and their hardware is known as a big IP. So basically F5 device you can deploy as a virtual edition. That means this is you can deploy on the VMware, or you can purchase a physical hardware. Okay, so they have different capacity of the hardware. Okay, from low end model to high end model. So Viprion is the high end model hardware. Okay, they are used in a big data centers. Okay, so on this top of hardware, they install one operating system, and their operating system known as a TMOS. So this is the heart of the F5 operating system. You can say this is the TMOS. This is Traffic Manager Operating System. Traffic Manager. Traffic Manager OS. Okay, so that's a TMOS. That's an operating system. On the top of this operating system, you would see different module. You would see LTM module. You would see DNS module. You would see link controller module. You would see AM module, ASM, AFM. These are what? These are the module. And using these module, you can get different services. For example, go ahead. Madhu, can you mute yourself if you don't have any question? Thanks. So in F5, this is the F5 architecture basically, where you would deploy F5 hardware, or you would deploy F5 as a virtual machine. And on the top of their hardware, you are going to install F5 TMOS operating system. And in this TMOS operating system, you can enable different modules. So we are going to learn LTM module, which is providing the load balancing. Okay, all the functionality of load balancing. Later, after learning this LTM, you can go and learn DNS. You can go and learn ASM. Okay, this is a security module. So basically, you would see that their module is divided into three categories. One is availability. So LTM, DNS, and link controller. These modules offer the availability. Other is the acceleration. So AM is offering acceleration. So this is for the web acceleration or WAN optimization. And then other module are for the security. So SM is the very popular module that is for security. So if you have any web server and you just want to secure those web servers, web application, you can use ASM module. So these are the modules we have. And for that, you can see Silverline is another module that you can use for the DDoS protection. Okay, so please let me know if you have any question. Okay, so you can interrupt me and you can ask me the questions. Now moving to next one. If I talk about F5, how F5 is advanced, what are the advantages if you deploy F5 in your organization? So F5 is basically working as a fully proxy. That means what happens if you have a client and these are the backend server you have, and in between, if you have deployed F5, so these client directly cannot access this web server. How they are accessing? They are accessing through F5, these backend server. They are accessing these server through F5. So you have server 1, server 2. And during this, you can get multiple advantages. Maybe I would start from here. Let's say on F5 side, here you have enabled HTTP version 2. HTTP version 2 you have enabled, but your server is running on HTTP version 1. This server is running on HTTP version 1. And you know that HTTP version 1 is not that much secure or that not that much fast. So what you can do on F5 on front end, this is a front end. So on front end, what you can do, you can enable HTTP version 2. And on the back end, is still those server is running on HTTP version 1, no matter. Okay, they can run on the version 1. So you can see here, your F5 would be able to do full proxy over here. So you know what is proxy? Basically, in proxy, what happens? On the behalf of someone, if someone giving the response, so that's a proxy. So like this is the user. If they just want to access server on the behalf of this client, okay, F5 is sending request to this backend server. Okay, so this is working as a proxy. It's a full proxy. Okay. Other advantage you can get when you are using a full proxy, if you have any compressed compression, let's say this request is coming from where? From WAN, where it required more bandwidth. So for where it required more bandwidth. So here compression is required basically because WAN link are really slow. And if you send 10 MB, 50 MB or 60 MB data through WAN link, so that would be really making very slow. So basically what happened, the client sent the compressed request to F5 and then F5 would send normal uncompressed request to server. So here compression is happening, on the back end decompression is happening. Okay, so that's another benefit you can get. Then it can do the encryption from client to F5. You can encrypt the connection, and to the backend node, you can send that unencrypted connection. So your F5 is doing all the encryption task. Okay, so it's protecting the utilization of server, because if the server would be busy for any kind of encryption or decryption, so it won't be able to serve its real content. On that cases, you can offload the things from here and you can configure SSL offloading on the F5 itself. Okay. Also, your F5 can do the application data. That means any application that data is being sent on the F5, you can do the manipulation on the application data. For example, if you just want to modify that when user is requesting XYZ website, it should add some more header or should change the behavior of the traffic, that you can do that. Okay, over here. So your F5 is doing a full proxy over here. Okay. Before accessing to the backend node, these client would be sending, three-way handshake. And after three-way handshake, they would start sending the data. When client is sending three-way handshake, F5 is also sending three-way handshake back to the backend server. So this is how fully proxy works. Any question? All right, moving to next one. We will talk about deployment model. So F5 you can deploy in a one arm mode or multi-arm mode. In one arm mode, what happened? In F5 there would be single interface. So same interface is replying to the user and same interface is accessing the backend server. So let's say these are the backend server that is behind the F5. So if user is trying to access these backend server, it would send the request to F5. Okay. Over here, there would be a virtual server, and then this virtual server is sending the request to these servers from the same interface. So there would be single interface which would be replying and taking the request. Both it is doing. So that is a one arm deployment. One arm deployment you would do in the organization if you don't want to make any changes on routing. Okay, so at that time you can just deploy one arm over here. Then there is another deployment type which is two arm, and in two arm deployment you can see here there would be two interface. One interface is working as a front end and other interface is working as a back end. Okay, that means this F5 device is also doing routing, and that's why you can say this is also known as a routed mode. So let's say if these clients want to access any application server, so they would send that to the front end, which is virtual server, and F5 would be generating the request to the backend server, getting the data from there, and then serving to back to the client. So this is two-arm deployment. So all the routing would be happen on the F5 level over here, right? Now moving to next one, we talk about F5 components. F5, this is the F5 physical device. This is the 3600 series of big IP device. Okay, so you would see in this 3600 component over here, there are different things. One is the management port. This is a management port. So this management port is a use for the out of band management. So out of band access, this management port is used. So this management port is a dedicated port. Using this, you can access your F5 device. By default, on this management port, there would be IP 192.168.1.245. This is the default IP on this management interface, using which you can access the device and you can do the configuration. If you just want to upgrade this F5 device, or you want to re-image the device, so you can use USB port where you can use the bootable pen drive, and from that pen drive you can transfer the image to F5 device. Then there is a console port, this console port. So this is for the console access. Then there is a failover port. So when you configure F5 device on HA, at that time this failover port will be used. HA means high availability. A two device you are going to configure. One device is working as active and other device is working as a passive. So those are the HA port. These are the Ethernet port, and these Ethernet port is working as a load balancer port. So one of the interface you can connect to the front end device, and other interface you can connect to the back end device. So these are the Ethernet port. Then you have gigabit SFP port. Here you can insert the SFP. These are the LCD panel using which you can do the configuration. For example, if you want to change the IP address, so you can use this navigation key. You can get the particular IP setting, and from here you can change the setting of the IP address. And these are the indication LED. Okay, these are the indicator LED. So they are going to tell you that what is the status of or indicator, or we can say the status LED. So it is going to tell you that what is the status of F5 device, whether this is okay or faulty. So based on the indication, you can check. Please let me know if you have any question. So this is big IP component. Now I would let you know that how you would do initial configuration. So basically for initial configuration, you can change the IP. Initial configuration you would do if you just want to activate your device. So you can do the initial configuration for that. For initial configuration, you can connect your PC to the management port of F5. So let's say this is F5 device, big IP device, and you just want to access it. So you can use the management interface and connect to your laptop. You can access using a GUI, open the browser and type this IP. You would be able to access it. Else you can go on, you can access the device physically. You can use the LCD panel. You can go to management, system, then management, and from there you can change the IP address. Or you can connect your device using console port, and you can run this command, config utility, and you can change the IP address. By default, it has the username. Okay, so basically you have the username root, and for CLI access, the username is a root and password is a default. This is the password. For GUI access, username is admin This is for GUI. And password is what? Password is also admin. So using this username and password, you can access through GUI. Okay. Once you configure this, then you can go for license activation. For license activation, you can see this is the initial configuration for license activation. When you access using GUI, okay, by default, you would get this option. And here you need to click on next. Once you click on next, you will get the option to activate. So click on activate option. Here you can put the key. This is activation key. This key you can get from F5 website. Okay, they would provide you activation key. Put the key and select manual over here, option manual, and then click on next. You need to copy this and you can activate by going this website. Okay, put this code and then you would get the license key. So license key which you get, you can put over here. This is the license key which you are getting over here. And post putting the license over here, you can click on next and it is going to activate the license. Post activation the license, you can provision the F5 over here. So you have a different module you can see here. We have different module. You have APM. Which module you just want to provision? So if you want to provision LTM module, you can just go and you can just provision this. By default, you would get 30 days license. So whatever the product is licensed, that is going to show here that this is licensed. Okay. And you can just provision and click on submit option. Once you click on submit option, it would give you next step. And in next step, you can configure the management interface. Okay. After post the configuring the management interface, you can click on this finish option, or you can go for further configuration. If you just want to configure network, etc., where you just want to define VLAN, configuration, sync, failover, you can do that. Else you can click on finish. So this is a basic configuration. I'm just going to show you that how you would do that. Okay. So let's go for demo and let me show you how it works. So for demo, you can use our website. This is our website, labs.netminion.net. Okay. This you can access from anywhere. Okay. If you register yourself, you would get the lab access. Like I got the lab access. This is LTM lab. And you can see here that this is a lab. So on this lab, we are running a virtual devices. These are the servers which we have. These are the internal server, which is associated on internal VLAN. So on this layer 3 switches, we are going to do the segregation. We have created multiple VLAN. And we have two LTM device. One is acting as a primary and other is acting as a secondary. And I'm accessing these devices via this system. Okay. So I hit this switch. From this switch, I'm just going to access the management interface. And from management interface, I can access the device. So if you see here, if I click on this system, I would be able to access the terminal, which is already open here. This is IP default IP of my system. Okay, I can access it. And if I provide right username and password, I would be able to access it. So I'm just providing right username and password, which is admin. I must be able to access. And when you are accessing first time, I'm not accessing this first time. This is already activated. But when you would access first time, this is going to show you in this way. All the configuration you would be able to see in this way. Okay, so when you are accessing first time, this is going to show you in this way. If you just want to reactivate license, you can click on reactivate. Here you can see the base key. So this is my key. You can click on manual option and you can click on next. It seems my password is not working. Advance, proceed. Okay, what I would do, I would shut down this system and try to access this system now. Second demo. Okay, let's log in as a root. Put the password as a default. Okay, and if I go to config utility, this is the utility. Using this, I can change the IP address. So if I just want to change the IP address, I can change the IP address. Okay. I don't want to change IP address. I just want to use this IP address only. So let's try to access this secondary device now. And let's see if I can access it. Okay, now it is asking for the activation. So you need to put the activation key if you have activation key. So you can put the activation key. If you don't have, then you can get the trial licenses. From where you can get the trial licenses? From F5 itself. So if you search here, F5 trial licenses. Okay, you can get the F5 trial licenses, product underscore trial. Here you can get the trial licenses. So you have different types of product. If you just want to get the trial licenses for those products, you can go for that. In our case, we should get the trial licenses for this virtual edition. Okay. So you just click on this get free trial. And for this free trial, you have to sign up first. So you can click on this login or register, and then you can sign up over here. Let me just check if I have any particular email ID. Seven five five nine 22@gmail.com. Okay, so I have login as a one of the using trial key, one of the Gmail ID. Here you can select that which product users want a trial. So you can select that this is a current product. Here you can select your job function. So for example, I'm putting as other. You can assign your job function. I'm trainer. And here, what the product trial users want. Users want a trial for local traffic manager. Yes, I just want trial for this local traffic manager. And then provide this captcha to EU. How many trial you want? Request a license key. So if this is valid, so they are going to send the license key. Okay, so I need to access my this email, and it would take usually 30 minutes. They would in 30 minutes they are going to deliver the trial key to me. Okay, so if you have a trial key, you can activate in that way. Okay, and simply you need to put your trial key there, as I mentioned on the slide. Base registration key you would put when you click on manual. So it is going to give you this dossier file. This dossier you can copy, and then you can access F5 licensing server. There you need to put this dossier, and you would get the trial code. And then you can activate your F5 devices. Okay, so this is all about the demo. Okay, when we will do proper class, then we will explain you that how you are going to activate these things, how you can set up your lab. Okay, plus we are going to help you on the interview question. We are going to provide you recorded video and workbook. Using that, you can perform the labs. Any questions so far? If you have, you just let me know. If you just want to know further, you can access our website. Here you can go to the course and you can select the F5 Big LTM course. Here you would get some sample video. You can follow us on YouTube as well. There you would get so many informative video regarding this F5. And also you can just check what are the course content you have. Detailed course content is mentioned over here. So you can download these course content. This is the detailed course content.
I just have some queries like how to start for 101. Is there any document which we go through to complete 101 to start FILTM?
Yeah, basically, if you cover, I mean, if you join this course, so we are going to cover 101 and 201 both on this. Okay. Additionally, you can get some document from F5 itself. They are providing free document for 101, so you can follow that.
Any fee structure for 101? How much we need to pay for registration? That one you're going to help with some information.
Basically, we have the packaged course 101 and 201. These are the packaged course. So definitely you can, I think Joya would help you on the fees. So you can connect to our coordinator and they would provide you how much the fee.
I'm not asking about the course fee from the NetMinion. I'm asking about from the FI site. If I want to do certification 101, the basic one, right, to start for the FI, what could be the fee structure? How much it could be?
101 is free. Okay.
Okay.
You can go for free. You can go for free this, and for 201, I think this is $175.
Okay. How about security modules? Suppose we complete this FI LTM, right? Then DNS. I'm more interested like security solutions on the F5.
Yeah. So if you complete your this LTM, you can go for ASM. However, you can directly go for ASM as well. Okay. And we do offer ASM course also. So you can directly go for, if you just want to bypass LTM, so you can directly go for ASM. But the problem is, if LTM, LTM is a hurt, we can say that if you just want to start from for F5, so just go for LTM. But this is not mandatory that if you just want to learn any security module like ASM or AFM, you can directly go there.
Okay, thanks so much.
Yeah. Any other question?
Just have a doubt. See, one more doubt. We have big IP GTM appliance. So GTM also covers LTM concept, right? GTM also comes with a LTM to
I mean,
DNS.
few of the LTM concept GTM would cover, but GTM is a, we can say that it is 75% different than LTM.
Okay, so you guys
Some of the things it is just going to cover in GTM. You would
okay.
get the knowledge of virtual server. You would get the knowledge of pool, okay, monitors, etc. But GTM is a little different because GTM is mostly handling your DNS traffic, not your application traffic.
Okay. So do you guys have the for the GTM also? If I suppose complete LTM, if I want to go for the GTM,
Yeah,
do you
I'm
guys
the one
cover
who is
for?
taking GTM here. Okay, so I
Okay.
can give you this.
I have some knowledge on GTM and LTM. I used to manage, but this time I want to learn somewhat in-depth knowledge. Looking for in-depth knowledge to knowledge on LTM and GTM.
Yeah, since 10 years I'm managing both product, three product.
Sorry.
So since 10 years I'm managing these products, so I can cover that.
Okay, no worries. Then maybe let's start with LTM. Then I nominate myself for the GTM.
Yeah, sure. So
So how about
GTM is nowadays changed. Its name has been changed. It's a DNS now.
yeah, correct. Because all my vendors are saying no more GTM. They call it a DNS.
Yeah.
So how about lab access? So you provide a lab access if we stuck somewhere, someone will help us. If you are not able to perform the lab or something.
Definitely. I mean, you would get the recorded video, whatever the practical I would do, I would show whatever the demo I would show on the lab. So all the recorded video is available there. Apart from that, you would get, step-by-step configuration guide, which is we call workbook. Okay.
Okay.
Each scenario would be mentioned there with the explanation, what is the purpose of this particular lab, and their explanation, and then steps. So those workbook you are getting.
How about is it like a totally GUI based, or you are going to touch something like a CLI based?
We will go and cover both things, GUI and CLI both. So F5 is one of the tool which you can use, which you can manage using GUI and CLI as well. So we are going to cover both.
Yeah, because some of the traffic which we cannot from the GUI, right? How the connection is going from response where we are getting from the source and destination.
Yeah, especially packet capture, etc. You are doing via CLI. So definitely that we are going to cover.
Okay, thanks, Amar. I'm just looking for somewhat LTM troubleshooting skills and somewhat like a CLI interface.
Okay. Yeah, we are going to cover entire things over here. I mean, that's why we have two devices. In one device, we will do practical as a GUI, and same practical we will replicate in secondary device as a CLI.
Okay, Amar, thank you. That's all from my side. Thanks for clarifying.
Thanks.